Hello, hi all, it's Kobe R. Rice and I'm back again for another weekly creative update. Welcome back to the epic fantastical journey of a black female sci-fi writer. Sorry I'm looking all around the screen for those of you who are watching the vlog version of this. I'm just like, for whatever reason I thought my recording station was all set up before I did this and apparently it is not. So I'm just kind of like moving my mic over here, moving the computer screen over there, so just bear with me as usual. I usually come on here just kind of like a hot mess. But hi, I am back, and last week was actually a really excellent, amazing week, and we're just gonna get right into it. So as you can probably tell just from the title of the podcast, I have some pretty exciting news. You guys know that on Thursday, June 14th, the 2054 Sci-fi Anthology that I co-wrote with 3 other authors came out, and not only was it released and not only did it launch, but it launched in like full effect. We were selling about 200 copies or more per day on average, which is great. We had some really great feedback from our readers, some really wonderful interaction and cross-promotion and co-promotion with our other author friends. And then, of course, we were busting our behinds behind the scenes and in front, on front stage in order to, make sure that our launch was successful. Not only am I reporting to you now, where in 2054 has officially gotten about 75 reviews thus far with an average of 4.7 stars out of 5. Not only am I here to report that to you, but also 2054 hit 6 bestsellers lists throughout the entire week that we were launching, which is great. So we hit the Sci-fi Anthologies bestseller list at number 1. Actually, pretty much we hit every single list at number 1 for all the lists I'm about to tell you, at least for that particular week. We're starting to see some drop now, but in any case, 6 bestsellers list. I'm so excited. So we hit number 1 in sci-fi anthologies, number 1 in short stories, number 1 in just anthologies. Then we hit number 1 in short story anthologies. And yes, believe it or not, those are all separate categories on Amazon for whatever reason, but still they're categories. Then we hit number 1 in American/United States short story anthologies. And then we hit a really random number 1, which we were not aiming for at all, but we're also number 1 in tech and computer literacy because it's a cyberpunk anthology, which has a lot of computers and AI and technical stuff in it. So I guess Amazon figured it belonged in that category. It felt a little bit weird to me, honestly, but I will take it. I have no problem taking it. And it was selling really well, better than the other tech and computer literacy books. So how can you argue with that? But 6 categories, guys. 6 categories. So now I can officially call myself a, quote, best-selling author, at least on Amazon, which is really exciting to a lot of other authors who are more advanced and more veteran and who have hit, the New York Times bestsellers list, USA Today bestsellers list as indie authors, either by themselves or collectively. Being on the bestsellers list might not be that big of a deal to them, but it's a big deal to me because for me, it's my first step towards becoming a more prolific, sort of more, I just elbowed my setup here, sorry. Becoming a more prolific and just more present author on bestsellers lists. I'm just trying to build up my repertoire and my expertise little by little. And this is a big deal for me also because you guys know that basically this year is it's not exactly like year number 6 because I started at the end, like very end of 2013. So as of, let's say, December 2013, as of this December 2018, it will be my 6th year as of this December as an independently published author. Which, as you guys know, if you've listened to my podcast before, there were a good 2.5 to 3 years that were pretty much cut out of my career because I suspended it in order to be a stay-at-home mom, and I focus a lot on raising my daughter and also like just survival, like having to like pay bills and stuff like that. But I spent a lot of time basically preparing for a moment like this, both intellectually and creatively, and I finally hit another milestone, which I'm really excited about. You know, ever since I got here to Tucson as of 2016, I've been each year hitting a major milestone in my author career. And it's really, really exciting. So in 2017, that milestone was hitting a readership of over 20,000, which I've actually called recently. But then like this year's milestone, which I wasn't even expecting or even really aiming for, was that I hit not only a bestsellers list, but 6 bestsellers lists. And I'm super excited about it. And now my authors and my co-authors rather, have a really lovely sort of intact marketing plan and push plan, PR plan that we are going to continue to use and replicate as we publish the other installments of the 2054 series. So they're going to be at least 2 more box sets, and then we're going to come with a bigger box set, probably towards the end of 2019 is the plan. And who knows, maybe in that regard, we'll actually be able to hit, you know, a New York Times bestsellers list or something like that. I mean, who knows? You never know, right? But the other thing that came out of this is that we made enough money from this initial launch period in order for us to start the audiobook production of 2054, and that's really exciting. So the proceeds from what we did sell from this past week are basically paying off most of our audio production costs, which is really exciting. So we'll have the audiobook coming out very soon, probably within the next couple of months, which is really great and will be another milestone in this project. And we're super excited. We're just talking about a lot of different collaboration projects between us right now, which is great, that not only include the 2054 franchise, but also include other endeavors that we might embark on together. So this has been a really rewarding experience in many ways, more ways than one. It's not just about making bestsellers lists and making money and putting out product, which is important, but the fact that I found a group with whom I share a genre, especially with the sci-fi side of the genre, because most of my readers are really into urban fantasy and epic fantasy and things like that with sort of a sci-fi twist. And they also love dystopian. And I have that overlap with my co-authors and collaborators, but they are more firmly in sci-fi. So this has just been a really great opportunity, not only to get to know them better and to work closely together with them, but also to expand my own personal sci-fi repertoire as a science fiction author, in addition to being a fantasy author, a crime noir author, thriller, and et cetera, survival horror, and so on. So those are the major announcements. I just wanted to, for those of you who actually watch this, if any of you guys are on my reader list, to give you guys a major thank you. If you were on the ARC list, I don't want to take credit for this entire thing, but I do believe that most of the reviews that 2054 got, at least I would say at least half of them came from the people on my list. Like I'm pretty sure I could actually say that with certainty. And so basically it was because of you guys, not entirely, but like a lot because of you guys, that our box set was such a success. Because there's no way that we can get high sales without really having good reviews, and having, this box set pretty much be pushed out into the world with nearly 100 reviews just after a week and a half of being out is a major success. And it's only going to help us keep up this momentum in the future. So thank you guys so much for those of you who showed up, who did the work, who read the books, who reviewed both on Amazon and on Goodreads. Like, you guys are amazing. And you are the reason why we're continuing this project, amongst other reasons. And then also, you guys are also the reason why I'll be, as I said before, adapting the Camille, which is the story I wrote for the anthology, into a longer serialized series. So stay tuned for that. That is coming up not anytime in the next month or two, but certainly towards the beginning / middle of 2019. We'll see more of Drea Ramoni and the Camille. So stay tuned for that. But that was the big win for the past week, and that was super exciting, and I'm just happy to share that with you guys. Okay, what else was happening this week? So great things, nothing bad, but I've noticed that my work on The Bohemian Badass, which is the other business I'm working on right now, which is sort of connected to my author brand. Sort of like if you guys are familiar with Joanna Penn, which if you're an author and you're trying to publish your own work independently, there's no reason why you should not know about Joanna Penn at thecreativepenn.com. She is amazing. But if you look at her brand and you examine her brand, you'll notice that she has two distinct parts of her brand. She has the JF Penn part, which is her author identity. So she writes all her supernatural thrillers and urban fantasy and dark fantasy under that name, and is very successful, pretty well known within the indie community. But then she also has her The Creative Penn brand, which is the nonfiction, basically giving authors a step-by-step guide to writing, editing, publishing, marketing, and selling their own work. So those two parts of her business work in tandem to give her a really lovely business model upon which she makes a very, very comfortable living from what I can tell. And sort of modeling that in a way, I'm doing the same thing with The Bohemian Badass. I have my Colby R. Rice brand, which deals specifically with the Books of Ezekiel series I'm writing, the Hitman of Happily Ever After series I'm working on, the Asylum trilogy, rather the Asylum series, let me put it that way, and all of the other sci-fi, fantasy, and horror properties I'm developing as an author. But then on the other side, I have The Bohemian Badass, which specifically is geared towards teaching writing craft, as well as some marketing, publishing, producing, and selling craft, but mostly writing craft to communities of color and people of color, with the very special emphasis on women of color. Although we don't discriminate, we'll basically teach anyone. But I've noticed that there has been sort of a dearth of representation and mentorship for people of color to basically write, publish, produce, market, and sell their own sci-fi, fantasy, and horror novels, films, screenplays, teleplays, which are TV scripts, TV series, etc. So The Bohemian Badass is very much like The Creative Penn, but goes in a slightly different direction. For one, I don't only focus on teaching people how to write novels, I also teach TV writing, screenwriting, filmmaking, etc., etc. Also, like how to build a business brand, how to engage in really cool, creative, intellectual property development and franchise development, brand development, etc., etc. And I gear that towards people of color, communities of color, women of color. And if you're a blurred, this is exactly the place you need to be, especially if you're into comics, because we'll be expanding later in our lifetime to include comic writing and other kinds of writing. At the Bohemian Badass, I've also decided that I will be teaching as well as with other people, but I'll be teaching genre mastery. So, I think there are a lot of articles and places out there that really delve deeply into something like, say, epic fantasy. But I really want to teach people how to master the art of writing the epic fantasy genre, or at least being able to master the art of knowing the ins and outs of that genre, for example, and then being able to put a twist on it. So we'll be teaching a variety of genres, and some of them, most of them are actually dealing with sci-fi and fantasy, but we also deal with horror and dark fiction, survival horror, survival fiction, which is like one of my favorite genres ever. Very underrated, and I do plan on trying to bring that back, like single-handedly, just bringing back survival fiction, because I think it's great. Looking at specifically how to write new adult versus young adult fiction, looking at action and combat fiction, adventure and travel fiction. So for you Lara Croft, Tomb Raider types, that would be great for you guys. For you martial arts, gun battle, car chase types, the action and combat would be more your style. Etc., etc. So I'm really excited because at The Bohemian Badass, we not only put you on a particular creative and artistic path, like if you're a novelist or if you're a TV writer, we not only teach you in any one of those directions, but we also teach you how to master the genre that you're interested in, so that you can bring, for example, your TV writing desires and passions together with your survival horror passions, and be able to put those things together and create an independently run, written, shot, produced, and packaged survival horror TV series, right? That you can just do on your own. Not saying that Hollywood is not a great place to be, but I think personally, it's my personal philosophy for myself and for the Bohemian Badass as a business that communities of color should really try to focus on building their own Hollywoods. And really, all we need in order to do that is money slash financing and the craft. So I'm trying to bring what I know and what I'm learning about different aspects of the craft, no matter how many different tracks there are, and different aspects of the craft of genre writing, all to one place, so that the Bohemian Badass is literally a one-stop shop for any writer, director, producer who wants to create their own art on their own terms, but make it really good and make it masterful and make it badass. Hence the Bohemian Badass. So that's what I've been working on the entire week. And actually, now that I think about it, that's pretty much what I've been working on the entire month of June thus far. Which, in all honesty, because again, I'm involved in deep focus. When I focus on one thing, a lot of other things kind of fall to the wayside. I have been writing, but I haven't been writing as much as I wanted to, or as I should be, honestly. And that it just is what it is. But I have been working on doing 500 words a day for Asylum Trilogy and for Hollow Point. The Asylum Trilogy is getting written more so at this point than Hollow Point, only because there are fresher ideas that are coming out of that. Hollow Point is getting worked on a plot and world building level. So that, so progress there is being made. It's just I'm not pushing forward those new words the way that I want to. And this past week, I've really tried to be really hard on myself with regard to getting more words out every single day. But then I realized that I can't kick myself all the time for the things that I don't do. I do have to just kind of focus on what I am getting done and try to enter into each day anew. So that's what I'm trying to do for this week. And being at the top of this week, I'm trying to make more progress on Hollow Point, which I have. I actually was working on it this morning, so kudos. But I got some words written for the Asylum series last week, as well as some plot development for that series and Hollow Point. So that's basically what I've been doing creatively. But most of my time has been focused on the Bohemian Badass. And again, as much as it's taking me away from my other creative endeavors right now, the Bohemian Badass website is looking really incredible. And I'm not even really done yet. I'm really only about 50% of the way through. And I'm trying to get the website and the brand to open, or rather have its reopening on August 1st, which is great. And so it will be open officially for business, so to speak, August 1st. But then as of January of 2019, I want to be building towards an actual bona fide launch, if that's possible. I do have comps that I have to take during the December break, so that might actually end up eating up my time. But we'll see. That's going to be my my goal. And I mainly have been just working on the website, working on finishing up my graphics templates rebrand, because for me, everything needs to look very sexy. The brand colors and the fonts need to be on point. So I'm busy trying to standardize all of that. I'm basically trying to bring a higher level of awesomeness to my writing, craft, business, and blog. I want to bring a level of awesomeness that you don't really see on other writing blogs. And I will probably do a whole podcast episode on the Bohemian Badass when it launches, with regard to my philosophy, with regard to how we, quote unquote, will be teaching information, how we are trying to build our own space digitally and physically outside of Hollywood for the production of creative projects built by people of color, not only by people of color, but by women of color, by people who identify as LGBTQIA+, people who are just generally disenfranchised, people who are differently abled, etc., etc. So that is basically what has been going on. That's the goal, and that's what I want to communicate when I finally shoot slash record that podcast on the Bohemian Badass. So let's see, what else have I been doing? Oh, this is big. I have also decided, I didn't think I was going to do this before, but previously I thought I would only be teaching through podcasting, blogs, vlogs, and courses on my website, along with ebooks and things like that. I thought I would be just like a publisher, essentially, of information. But I've also decided to add consulting and coaching services to that as well. Because I've mainly been, I've realized that a lot of people who know me and trust me tend to come to me a lot asking for dramaturgical, structural, and developmental feedback on their projects, whether that's a play or that's a script or it's a novel or something like that. They tend to ask for my feedback. And I thought to myself that maybe this is something I should offer more readily, like offer more of myself more readily to people who want that one-on-one interaction and coaching and attention and time. And so I am going to do that. And this is a massive shift because if you guys recall my podcast that I posted maybe a month, probably 2 months ago even, wherein I said that I don't think I would ever become like a dramaturg or like a full-time dramaturg. This new decision of mine seems to fly in the face of that, right? But the thing is that for me, what I'm doing here is that I'm pulling from my dramaturgical skills, my communication skills, my dramaturgical and structural and narrative insight, so to speak. I'm pulling from those skills and repackaging them and using them to a slightly different advantage, using them to help people from a different perspective. And even at the Bohemian Badass, as much as I really want to offer dramaturgy and playwriting coaching and publish materials and courses, it's just not it's not a craft or a skill that I'm naturally drawn to. Although I do love directing for theater. That's completely, which is kind of weird, right? But not all directors are dramaturgs or even playwrights, so I guess it's not that weird. But dramaturgy for the theater and dramaturgy for playwriting isn't really what gets my fire going, but I do love doing that stuff for prose and for screenplays and for television specifically. But all of those different crafts, and also for games and game writing, like those are the sort of genres that really light my fire. And that's something that I came to terms with as I was working more on the Bohemian Badass, and as I was narrowing down the different categories and artistic tracks that I would be teaching. And I realized that playwriting and theater specifically weren't really my strong suits and weren't areas that I really wanted to become super, super duper strong in. Although I can do it, I just will probably do it more in still like a directorial capacity. And I hope I'm not saying this and then eating my words later when it's time to like apply for a theater position. But I just have to be like in my truth and in my when I'm in my truth, I'm in my power. So it just is what it is. Love the theater and what it does. I love like the people who are in it, who are super passionate about it, who do want to push forward interesting and amazing work and make change. Totally love and respect those particular individuals. It's just not a medium that I totally resonate with. So when I was saying before that I wasn't really into dramaturgy as much as I wanted to be, I don't think I was really aware that it might not be the dramaturgy that turned me off. It just might be the medium that was turning me off. And and it's a great medium. It's just probably not the medium for me. And I say that tentatively because it might change in the future, just as everything does. And, we get new information, we have new experiences, and we're allowed to change our minds, right? But for now, I think I'm going to do what I originally came here to do, which is no matter how much in love or out of love I am with theater, I still want to engage fully at 1,000% and work as hard as I can to learn everything that I can about theater and apply all those amazing, wonderful skills that I'm gaining to the film and TV and game and publishing industries, basically. So, adding some coaching services there. I pretty much finished designing the structure of one of my first coaching services, so I'm really excited about that. For the coaching services, there will be 6 different levels of coaching that I'm going to offer. The first one being pretty much open and free with Ask Me Anythings and Hangouts and FAQs and pick my brain sessions and, support sessions and creative courage sessions and things like that. So the first level will be totally free, but all the other levels from 2 to 6 will be paid individual or group coaching packages. So I'm excited to talk about that when it's time. But I don't want to take up too much time on this podcast talking about it. But I do want to kind of introduce you to that and know that is coming. More personal time with Kobe R. Rice, which I'm happy to do because I really do want to meet and support and build and develop and really cultivate voices of color, like creative voices of color that just don't have any support, really don't have any, sort of introduction to their craft, and who don't really necessarily know where to start, and who are looking for someone to either mentor them or just someone who will go along the path with them, so that they're not so alone as they're trying to develop whatever intellectual property they want to develop. Remember, I'm a novelist too. I'm a screenwriter, I'm a TV writer, I'm a director, I'm a producer as well. And so a lot of these coaching sessions, if they're not one-on-one mentorship / teaching sessions, they will be a let's do this together session. One of the coaching levels that I do want to engage with and open up is the summer camp coaching level, where I will be getting together with like 5 or 10 people, probably virtually, every single weekend over the course of a month or 2 months, and pushing a particular project towards completion. And everybody will have their own project, or they can get together and work on a project together if they want. It's totally up to them. But I would also be working on pushing my project towards completion. So I'm also not only teaching and helping to encourage people and giving feedback, but I'm also under pressure, which is good. Pressure is good, to finish out my own project that I have planned for my final presentation at the summer, because I want all of us to sort of culminate into a final pitch session and presentation session. So there's a lot of things that I'm really just putting together. I have in the works at the Bohemian Badass, and just all of that I just told you about coaching and consulting, that's just one of the many aspects of what we'll be doing at the Bohemian Badass. Like, I really do want this to be a hub of creativity and learning and support and collaboration, and I want people to have as many different ways to learn as possible. If you're a text-based learner, we will have lots of text. But if you're more of a video tutorial workbook kind of learner, we have that as well. If you're more of I need a project to take from, zero concept phase all the way to finished, polished, produced phase, we have programs like that. So, I really do want to do what other sort of blogs might not be doing right now. And what other writing craft businesses might not be doing right now, in a way that is affordable for people, accessible to people, and that also provides more of a personal and communal touch, where we all are geared and pushing our ideas toward, their ultimate forms, while also embodying this spirit of independent creation, which is going to only elevate the ways in which people of color are represented in the media, both in front of the camera and behind the camera. So having said that, I'm going to move on, but that's basically what I've been doing for the Bohemian Badass, setting up those services and doing all kinds of amazing things, and it's just been really great. So sorry I can't come to you saying I just wrote 20,000 words for Hollow Point. We're not that far along, but we're still making progress in the Rebel Ragdoll, creative world. So I'm really happy about that. Okay, let me look at my little notes here for a second to see what else I have been getting done. Okay. Oh my gosh, did I do all that already? Did I get through everything already? Oh, Creative Uni, actually, related to what I was just saying. Again, I'm going through the Publisher Thing course, but Regina, being the ultimate badass that she is, and Regina is the creator of this amazing course, byregina.com. Just go there and just get your life. And she doesn't have Publisher Thing open for new enrollments just yet, I don't think, but she will, so pay attention. Regina has so graciously, given everybody in the Publisher Thing course access to, it's limited access, but it's still access to a series of courses that teaches us how to go from nothing, pretty much, to a full lifestyle service business, I think she calls it. Let me just get the actual name of the actual class. It's called Create Your Lifestyle Service Business. So it's like a mega super course, which is amazing, of 6 different course modules, lots of workbooks and worksheets to basically help you set up your own service business, which is essentially for you if you're a freelancer, or for people like me who want to do coaching and consulting. And actually, this was the class that really helped to revolutionize my thinking about coaching and consulting. I was just going through the classes because I hadn't really decided if I was going to, do the coaching thing yet. And just the accessibility to she just made the idea, let me just backtrack. She made the idea of coaching and consulting so accessible, so simple, so straightforward, and so logical, in that we should find different ways to help other people through one-on-one interaction and coaching. Mind you, I didn't necessarily pay for this course. I paid for the Publisher Thing course, but she decided later to just throw this in there as a bonus. So it's not like she had to find a reason to justify why I paid the price for this course. She didn't have to do that. She was just able to bring so much value and so much common sense to the idea of opening your business up to consulting and coaching, that I felt like I really didn't have a choice but to really strongly and seriously consider adding those services to the Bohemian Badass. And this is sort of why I keep raving about the Publisher Thing course, and why I keep raving about Regina, because she really knows how to, shall we say, approach you as a business owner from a very human perspective, from a very, this is a logical way in which you can not only grow a business, but you can also find fulfillment and offer that same fulfillment to other people. She speaks to business owners and to clients and consumers on a human level, which really helps to underscore the authenticity of her product and the authenticity of her teaching, as well as helps to just make you more open to what she's trying to say, make you more open to her message. And so I say all of this to say that, one, you should invest in her courses if you have the opportunity. And secondly, she is really showing me a whole different world with regard to how to be a better teacher, how to be a better coach, how to be a better service and information provider. And, on a really primal level, just how to be a better person, how to improve your communication with people such that you are really getting at the heart of what their needs are, and such that you guys are developing a mutual trust between each other. So I really admire her, not only because she, again, has opened my eyes and my mind up to a whole new business model that I can add into the Bohemian Badass, but I admire her because she brings a whole different level of value to her infopreneur game that I really, really respect. I mean, there's levels to this, and Regina is literally at the top. And I would not be preaching about her courses so much if I didn't truly believe in them. I'm not an affiliate. Like, I have no idea how to become an affiliate. I would love to become one, but any link that you click on that I include in this video I get no kickbacks from it whatsoever. I just believe that firmly and that strongly in her brand, in her courses, in her product. And the money that I paid for the Publisher Thing course has literally already paid for itself like 5 times. Like, I think she's charging literally a fraction of what she should be charging for this course, because she's giving you an entire business model in a box, and she's basically giving you creative and lifestyle and career freedom in a box without you really even having to think much about it. All you have to do is sit her courses, do her worksheets, do the work. You have to do the work, and you will come out of this entire process with a really solid business model, business plan, like an actual solid business with, your services aspect of it, your publishing aspect of it, all your offerings, all of your merch, having a really deep knowledge of how to do SEO, affiliate marketing, content marketing, collaborations, networking. I mean, the girl is just a ninja mastermind of how to create and sustain and make successful an online business. And she does it without making you feel like you're some kind of cheap number that she's just trying to get to buy her product. And I genuinely feel like she genuinely cares about her clients, who, well, I'm one of them, and the rest of her community, that's the rest of them. And I don't know how she does all this at the same time and still is able to keep a smile on her face. So kudos to her. But yes, I highly recommend, if you want to build your business from literally the ground up and make it successful, like, sign up for her course. I feel very poised and very ready for success with the Bohemian Badass, because I am sitting the Publisher Thing course right now, and it's just blowing my mind every single day, and I feel very privileged to be a part of it. Even though I paid pretty good money to be a part of it, I still feel honored and lucky to be a part of this. That's how deep this transformation has been for me on a very spiritual level and an entrepreneurial level. So anyway, having said all of that, I don't want to just keep rambling and going on, but there have been some major things that have been happening this week, some wonderful, incredible, good things. And that includes the self-care front as well. Not just the physical health self-care. I'm growing out my little guns. I don't know if you can see it right now. You can't really see them, but like, my guns are looking great to me. And that transformation on a physical health level has been incredible. My spiritual practice, as I've been telling you guys before, has been really beneficial in just keeping me balanced, even through, certain situations, which I've had a very interesting emotional month this past month. Love found and lost, etc. Friends found and potentially lost. I'm not really sure yet. But just like, natural, normal things that we go through. And I found that my taking care of myself has really helped me to stay balanced and to stay grateful even through the really hard times. Yes, and that daily spiritual practice where I not only take stock, but wherein I thank a higher power for the gratitudes and the blessings that I have in my life, have really, really helped me a lot. I'm really glad that I'm engaging with this, and that I'm keeping my promise to myself to keep up my physical and spiritual and mental and emotional self-care. I'm really happy about that. And this summer is really helping to model the kind of life that I want to live pretty much forever, essentially. With my, of course, my adorable little girl by my side who I would not give up for the world. And so things have been going very well on that front. Again, of course, despite like nature and life's ups and downs. And I guess I'll just end on that note that I want you guys to keep gratitude at the forefront. I know I keep bringing this up in every single podcast, but it's so important because I think every day of how lucky I am to have my health, because I just even having a cold, for example, completely just lays me out flat. And on those days, all I want usually is just to be better. And I think about other people in the world who might never get better and who have things that are 10 times worse than just a common cold, who can't use their bodies and their minds and their creativity and, their intellectual prowess the way that they want to, or who have all those things but who have just gotten diagnosed with something terminal, or who, is even going through it with someone who is close to them who might be terminal. So not only is that person suffering, but they are sort of suffering by proxy and have to put things to the side, which is fine, in order to focus on that part of their life. I'm not saying that I will never go through those things, and I'm not trying to, I'm knocking on wood as I speak. But I say all that to say that no matter what is happening around me, if the whole world is on fire, if I'm healthy and able to function and my daughter is healthy and able to function, I just feel so much gratitude for that. I just thank the universe for that. I pray about that. I embrace that. And that is sort of like the starting point, like the baseline for my happiness, right? And I just want to remind you guys that there is always a baseline, and you should try to create a baseline for your happiness. And I do believe that physical health and even mental and emotional health are good baselines to start with. So even if you unfortunately don't have your physical health, if you are mentally clear, you're emotionally clear, you woke up in your quote unquote right mind this morning, that is something to be grateful for. So I'm just trying to balance out all the things that are going on, both negative and of course all the positive, with just a sense of humility if it's possible, and a sense of gratitude, because you never know how long these things might last, and you never know when life might take a turn, and life will always take a turn. That's never gonna ever stop. But I like to try to be grateful while I can. So I'm just feeling really good. I feel like last week was a really great week, and I achieved ascension and freedom and happiness in more ways than one. And I don't want to leave that on a too cryptic note, but I also don't want to ramble and keep going on and on and on. So I'm going to end, okay? I will see you guys next week around the same time. I'm going to try my best to refocus as closely as I can on my TV writing and on my novel writing. Those are the two things I don't want to fall to the wayside while I'm working on the Bohemian Badass and its amazingness, and try to keep those balanced. At minimum, I want to have the Hollow Point manuscript just finished by the end of August, which is the end of my second quadrimester. And I would also like a really crappy rough draft of the Sandman feature film finished, as well as a crappy rough draft of the Pendragon pilot and a crappy rough draft of the Pendragon TV series. All finished in the next 2 months and a week. So, having said that, and of course, launching the Bohemian Badass. So there's a lot going on in terms of the kind of products I want to put out towards the end of the quadrimester. But wish me luck. I will be working hard the entire time. Again, trying to stay in my my hard work ethic, but also in my gratitude, and I hope you guys do the same. All right, thank you guys again so much for all the just awesomeness you're bringing to my life as a writer, and just to like the different successes that I've been able to achieve, not at all on my own, but through you guys and through my author friends. So I do want to express my gratitude to you guys as I sign off. But I will be back soon. In the meantime, keep it indie, stay badass, stay creative, and stay creating. And I'll see you guys next week. Mwah. Bye.